I really hope that you enjoyed the last session since the beginning of the day. My name is Gary, and I'm the former CEO of Upstride, an artificial intelligence company that got acquired by Contentsquare 3 years ago. And back then, I had the chance to work on a large variety of use cases, ranging from face authentication all the way to the autonomous cars. And as a CEO of a small company, I can tell you that I had the chance to see firsthand how difficult it has become to go to market, how difficult it is to cut through the noise to really try to reach our audience. And this is what I'd like to talk to you about today. But let's start with a reality that we're facing, the commoditization of products. I'm not sure about you, but over the past few years, I had the growing feeling that the lines between unique and generic were blurring, completely blurring. So why is that? Well, let's take a few examples that I hope will resonate with us all. The first one being smartphone. Do you remember when owning an iPhone was a bold statement of technological sophistication? I do. I remember the day I had my first iPhone. I was so happy, really. It felt like Christmas morning. I felt like I was a kid. When I unboxed my iPhone, the touchable interface, the beauty of the design, that was just magic for me. But fast forward 15 years later, a couple of weeks ago, I helped my niece pick out her first smartphone. So we went to the store and we looked at a large variety of brands. And do you know what I realized? They were all the same. They were really all the same. Large screen, high resolution cameras, fast processors, very similar. Just have a look at what happened a couple of weeks ago with the launch of the iPhone 16. It's slightly bigger, slightly thinner than the iPhone 15, but that's it, right? And now if you try to compare the latest phone from Apple, from the latest phone from Samsung, from the latest phone from Google, once again, they are all very similar. So what was once a source of excitement, what was once a revolution, became completely expected, a commodity. What about the air travel industry? I'm going to tell you a lot of stories about my life, by the way. So I started my career as a management consultant. And back then, I loved traveling. I was traveling constantly. And traveling was really an experience to look forward to. I had everything. I had the credit cards, that you can link to the travel career. I had the frequent flyer program. I even had my favorite airline carrier, really. But when I booked my ticket to come here to be in Stockholm with you today, well, I realized that I choose only on time and schedule. Airlines had become completely interchangeable to me. And don't get me wrong, because I know that companies like Singapore Airlines, like Emirates, or like La Compagnie are trying to change this perception by reshaping the customer experience. But for most of the carriers, it's going to be a race to the bottom of price. So here again, a commodity. And what about streaming services? Well, here again, I remember so well, the day Netflix launched. Back then, I was living in Canada. And because I'm a nerd, I had spent the full day trying to set up a VPN to be among the first adopters. And when I finally managed to get to the platform, oh my God, I was so excited. I had this huge library of content, this huge library of entertainment at my fingertips. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Today, I have Netflix, Amazon Prime, Apple TV, HBO, Disney+, Paramount. Honestly, I have a subscription to many of them. And I really often find myself completely overwhelmed by choices, really. So here again, what was once a source of excitement became a commodity. And I could go on like this for hours with examples. Just think about the last time you bought a new TV, the last time you had to choose between two ride-hailing services, or the last time you bought a coffee from Starbucks. A commodity. So why am I telling you all these stories? Well, I'm telling you these stories because I believe they highlight a very important point. I believe they highlight a very critical point. Differentiation is not about the product anymore. And I'm sure we all know that. You don't wait for me to tell you that. We all know that. Differentiation is about the brand, the customer experience, the story we tell, and the value we offer to our clients. And this brings me to something that I call the consumer paradox. So what is the consumer paradox? Well, for me, the consumer paradox is that if you think about it, we kind of consume the same product categories as our grandparents. We eat fruits and vegetables, we subscribe to mortgages, we buy insurances, we buy cars, and for most people, apart from French, we buy soap. And still, it feels like it's never been so hard, so difficult to reach our audience. Sometimes, honestly, I feel like customers, they are playing hide and seek, and they've become like experts at this. So why is that? Well, I'm sure this could be the topic for a very long discussion. So I've just selected a few dimensions. The first dimension is the rise of convenience. Back in the days, shopping had a certain rhythm to it. You needed shoes, you would go to the mall. You needed groceries, you would go to the store. Stores had clear locations and opening hours. And if you were to arrive after the store was closed, it felt pretty normal to have to come the next day, right? Well, today it's completely different. Convenience has become the new normal. Think about same-day delivery, subscription models, or 24/7 availability. Our consumers have become addicted to instant gratification. And honestly, between you and I, who can blame them? Who can blame them? Why would you have to wait 3 to 5 business days if you can have a product delivered to your door in 3 to 5 hours? Makes sense, right? Digital and social media. Here again. When I was a kid, if you wanted to advertise, it was all about print, TV, and radio. And that was it. And by the way, that was already a challenge. Today, it feels like every 6 months there's a new digital channel that pops up. Think about Meta, think about Yubo, BeReal, TikTok, and all the others that I do not even know. And that raises challenges, right? Because as a company, how do we know if we have to allocate budget on TikTok rather than Instagram? How do we know that if we don't have a presence on Yubo, we're not missing out on opportunities? That's super hard. That's very hard. That's a real challenge. And as marketers, we have to be there. We have to be there to connect with our audience. But not only we have to be there, that would be too simple. We have to be active and interactive to constantly evolve and update the content that we put on these platforms. This changes a lot of things when it comes to go-to-market strategies. Omnicanality, honestly, that would be impossible to have a talk like this one without talking about omnicanality. Do you remember when the local store was nothing more than just a local store, right? Well, now it feels like it's an integrated, multi-channel experience that has to be seamless. No matter if our customers, they start on social media, then go to their desktop and finalize their purchase in brick-and-mortar stores. It has to be seamless. It feels like we're not selling products anymore. It feels like we are orchestrating symphonies of customer journeys. And if we hit the wrong note, well, let's just say that the one-star review will pop up faster than we can say the word omnichannel, really. Personalization. I'm not sure about your customers, but our customers do not tolerate at all one-size-fits-all approach. They don't like that anymore. They're more informed than ever before. When they come to our platforms and our services, they expect tailored messages and personalized recommendations. It's kind of like they would like us to, read their mind, to be able to know before they know themselves what they want and what they expect for the future. And that comes with a super big challenge. How do you do that without being creepy? That's a real challenge because there's a very thin line between, having a customer say, oh, wow, they already got me. And another one saying, oh, wait, how the hell do they know that about me? That's not that easy, right? And the last dimension, sustainability. So when I think back about my grandparents, I don't think they cared that much about sustainability. When I think about my grandmother, honestly, I think that The whole conception of being eco-friendly for her was using the same plastic bag over and over and over until it would completely fall apart. But today's consumers are different. They expect transparency and sustainability in all of their purchasing decisions. So that's not a big surprise why companies are putting so much effort into trying to lower their carbon emissions as well as having the right go-to-market strategies, right? And if you think about it, people that purchase from Patagonia or from North Face, when you purchase a coat from these brands, you don't just purchase a coat to be warm, right? You purchase a statement. You belong to a community of people that are aware of the challenges of the planet. We're not just purchasing products. It's not about making product anymore. It's about making products that do good. And this is a huge shift. So here is, if I have to summarize, here's what I call the consumer paradox. Product categories, it haven't changed much, but consumers have changed. And they've evolved into an entirely new species. They're more informed and more aware than ever before. And this, for me, raises a sense of urgency. What can we do to continue to learn from the customers to be able not just to sell products, but to create true emotional connections with them? That's a real challenge. And with this challenge comes other challenges. What can we do to create experiences that go beyond the product? What can we do to continue to differentiate in such a commoditized landscape? Because this is what we're talking about now. We're talking about a world where everything is getting more and more and more commoditized when it comes to products and services. So now let me ask you a question. Do you think that technology could become commoditized as well? Do you think that not only product and services, but technology as well could become a commodity? I don't know, but I'd love to put that to a test. So for the next 5 minutes, I'd love to play with you. What we're going to do is that we're going to try to do something that just a couple of years ago would not have been possible. I'm going with the help of Franzi, that's over there. A big round of applause for Franzi. Thank you. So we're going to use an app called Gamma.app to try to generate a website in 2 to 3 minutes. All right? Okay. So let's play. So let's say we are all entrepreneurs in this room. So to be honest, at the beginning, I wanted this to be interactive, but for the sake of time, I'll be the interaction. So let's say we are all entrepreneurs. When you build a company, you need at least 3 things. You need an industry, you need an audience, and you need a specific value proposition. So I'm French. What do French sell? Bread. So let's say I want to open a bakery. So I'm going to open a bakery. Interesting. What's my specific value proposition? We're in Sweden. All right. Let's say that the bread is as crispy as crisp rolls, but as good as fresh Parisian bread. And let's say that this relies on a technological innovation that comes from NASA, that helps this bread stay fresh for more than 2 weeks. That would be cool, right? So, all right, so I have my value proposition, I have my product, I need my audience. Who do I want to sell to? Of course, I want to sell to sophisticated CMOs, to sophisticated marketers that are very demanding and do not have time to they don't have time to spend online. They want things to be delivered really quickly. All right? Do you think it could work? I'm looking for investors. So, Franzi, as soon as you have it, you tell us. All right. Can the bread stay fresh for 2 weeks? That's very important. I'm really aware of environment and food waste. Okay, let's generate. So let's generate the content. Just 1 click. All right. Continue. Okay, so now we have to pick a template. For this type of company, what do you think? Dark template, light template? Light? Let's go for light. All right, Dune is good. Yeah, all right. Then vanilla. We are still learning to work together. And here it is. In just a matter of a few clicks, we have a website. And what you will see is that the pictures will come as well. So, but we have the websites, we have the messaging, we have everything. So, all right, can you scroll up? How good is that? The CMO's bread, crispy as crisp rolls, fresh as French bread. I love it. NASA-inspired bread recipes. High-quality product, time-saving solutions. How good is that? Delivery in under an hour. I love the picture. I mean, that's more Italian than French, but that's right. Stay fresh for 2 weeks, no food waste. I love it. In just a matter of seconds. Building a website just a few years ago, it would have taken months, and it would have involved designers, marketers, and this new word that I've just learned today, hippos. Now we can do that in a matter of a few seconds. But that's just the beginning. Because how long before, I'll say it differently. How good would that be if we were able to connect other sources of data to this app? How good would that be if we were able to connect the CRM, an Instagram, and all the other sources of information that you believe would be relevant? That would be amazing, really. Can we go to the PowerPoint? So that would be really great. And this raises a question, right? Because if technology can become a commodity as well, what can we do? What is our role? What are the new rules of the game that we are playing? Well, I believe that the game is changing as we speak. I think the game is not about building websites anymore or building apps. It's really about creating meaningful, personalized, unique, and engaging customer experiences. And on this road, artificial intelligence is going to be our ally. It is going to be our ally, because these type of technologies, they will help us understand and predict what consumers want when they engage on our platforms and services. And if you think back about the Gamma app, how long before these websites will be able to run A/B tests automatically? How long before the websites will be able to adapt by themselves automatically to their audience to provide personalized content and recommendations? 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, I don't know, but it's coming. It's coming and it's already here. I'm sure together in this room, we have a lot of clients and prospects that have already started to put AI in production. So, and by the way, not just to automate customer experience, but to elevate customer experience. Just to pick a few examples, this one from Amazon that I like a lot. When we purchase on Amazon, most of us, I believe, we read the reviews, right? But what's important for me might not be important for you. I mean, I have back problems. So when I was expecting more empathy from you. We can say to you, I have back problems. Come on, stop. So when I purchase a chair, I might be super interested in whether it's good for my back or not. Maybe you will be interested in whether it's durable. Maybe you will be interested in whether it fits under your desk. We have different purchasing criteria, right? Well, Amazon understood that. So what they did is that in selected countries, they rolled out an artificial intelligence that is a conversational interface where you can ask questions. And if I type, is the chair good for my back, it will go through all the comments and the reviews and provide me with a summary that is really tailored to my need. And this, in my opinion, elevates the customer experience while at the same time highlighting, the true value that a product can really offer to me. A second example is Sephora. So Sephora, if you don't know what it is, it's a retail of cosmetics. I think we can all agree that Sephora is not exactly what I would call a technology company. Still, a few months ago, they released an app where you can upload a picture of yourself. And then you have in the app, you have an artificial intelligence that would look at your picture, look at the grain and the shade of your skin to recommend what are the best products in their product portfolio. Here again, personalized recommendations. It elevates the customer experience and it helps us understand the true value that products can really offer to us and not the person next to us. So yes, AI is going to be our ally. And because of that, I think we have a responsibility. I really think we have a responsibility. We have to become the architects of these experiences. We have to become the architects because it will not be about technology, because technology is going to be commoditized. AI is going to give us the tools to create these modern customer experiences. But it's our vision and creativity that will set us apart. And this is something very important that we should always keep in mind. AI is a tool, but the vision and the creativity, it belongs to the brands. And I'm sure that people in this room, when I say these type of things, they might be thinking, yeah, all right, Gary, super interesting. But the winners are going to be the one with the most data, the most tech, or the most money. I think it's wrong. I think it's not about data, money, or resources. I think it's an operational challenge, nothing more than that. If you think 2 years ahead, product, services, technology, commodities. So it's an operational challenge. Why is that? Well, if we look at company level, and Sophie, Tobias, and many others, we've talked about that in the previous sessions, we need to break silos. We need to find ways to have people work better together. We need to find ways to better trust the data. We need to find ways to have marketing people, UX people, data analysts, product managers, and tech work together. And my new favorite words, hippos. I'm going to use it all the time. And if we look beyond company level, if you're a retailer, for example, you might want to integrate with brands, with marketplaces, with financing options, and with your old tech stack. And this has to be seamless, completely seamless. Our customers, they've become completely intolerant to frictions. They don't care if there is a bug in Klarna that prevents them from purchasing on your website. You will be held accountable for that. So it has to be seamless. So before I end this talk, if I had only one message for you guys, only one simple, very simple thought that I love you to keep with you, it's the following. We've talked about the commoditization of products, services, and technology. Well, let's not fear this commoditization. We should not be afraid. We should see it as an opportunity, a real opportunity, an opportunity to focus on what matters. And in my opinion, what matters is to continue to create human-centered experiences, experiences that are unique and that are engaging. This is the true challenge. And if you think like me, and if you want to do that, I really hope that you know that Contentsquare will always be there to do that with you. Oh, but that's true. Well, that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I want to start a bakery.
Come on, I'm looking for investors and associates.
Oh, great. I'm in. You got me. So we have a few questions online, but do we have any questions from the audience? Yeah?
Yeah, nice to meet you again. Talking about the commodification of technology. There is one industry that it's already over and done with, video games. When new video games come out, it's now not about which got the highest score. It's about, I did this, but what did you do in the game? Like the unique stories that people tell each other that they do in the generated, AI-generated, whatever technology is used in the games. And as it comes to the theory that the customer is after the most ethical, honest product, maybe, how about the thought that the best story wins? The feeling of this is the story that is most connected to me, or the story that is connected to me through an experience that another person had with the microverse that the commodification of technology leads to. Kind of a weird question, maybe, but that's.
I'm not sure if I understood the question, to be honest.
It's more. It's the storytelling of the when the users use the commodified experience, which is very personalized, it's very unique.
Yeah.
The thing that the customer will reflect back is, oh, my experience of the brand is that it's super specific to me, and I didn't have that experience at all, because and another person that has another input values have a completely other experience.
It's interesting because there are a few things in in your question, if I understand correctly. The first thing that we should not forget is that brands, they have to keep their DNA. So the idea is not, if you're like a super high-end luxury brand, but you have someone on your website that doesn't have any type of purchasing power, you will not, change like all your branding to selling something that has no value. So brands, they have DNA. So the question is, how do you convey this brand DNA throughout the consumer journey?
Yeah.
Throughout all the touch points, whether it is at search level, whether it is when you consume the product or when you talk to your friends about it, like during the whole consumer journey, how do you make sure that you create emotional connection? And this is when you create this emotional connection that you have to be personalized, in my opinion.
Yeah, and
but you don't change the whole, brand DNA.
And these connecting points is the opportunity for creativity.
Completely.
Thank you.
Very interesting. Let's see. We do have one question also from the online audience.
Mm-hmm.
We've been talking a lot about AI as something new and what we do have here and how to, really make use of what AI currently offers. But what would you say is the one that's coming next in AI?
That's a very good question. Thank you. So if we look back if we open the history books, don't worry, I'm not going to be too long. AI started in the 1950s. Then we had the computing power, the data that exploded, the use cases, blah, blah, blah. And in 2012, it started to become a thing. So starting from 2012, we really have like this first wave of AI that was understand. Then in the 2015, we had predict, and now we have generate, right? And we live in a world where most people value technological development more than the use cases at the moment. And that's why we talk about Mistral AI, Claude, Perplexity, ChatGPT, like all these type of things. Like we talk about the LLMs themselves. But my bet is that in 2 years max, the LLMs will be like the buttons on the TV remote. No one uses the buttons, really. Like we only use channel up, channel down, volume up, volume down. So this is where we stand at the moment. Now we are talking about the 9 buttons, but we shouldn't matter too much about that. Not important. We should look at the use cases, volume up, volume down. So now we have the LLMs to generate. The next case will be to apply these LLMs to real-life use cases. And the next phase, which is actually the most interesting for me, is AI agents. How can you specialize some AI models to know how to do very specific things? So I wouldn't be surprised that in a few years from now, we would open the computer and we would have an army of interns at our fingerprints. We'd have an AI agent that will be a data analyst, an AI agent that will be a marketer, an AI agent that will be a tech person, and we'll be able to talk to them. That's the next phase, having AI agents. And the phase after that is having AI agents able to work together to accomplish complex tasks. That's super complex to do from a technical point of view, but that's where we're heading.
Wow, I feel like it was like a NASA answer, like
sorry,
amazing. Yeah, we have one final.
Thank you so much for your talk. I really agree with that. This change is operational, and it has to do with the culture and how you work or the people. Can you, since you've been with so many different companies that have succeeded doing a transformation into working in a more data-driven way, what are the key factors that makes or breaks this?
Honestly, I wish I had the answer. It's a very complex question. I'm going to go for the answer from Optimizely. It depends. No, but to be more serious, I think that resilience is what comes to my mind when I hear these type of questions. because I see too many companies that have good ideas. Like, it's really easy to have a good idea. You don't need to be like a genius to have a good idea. What is complex is going from the idea to the implementation. And one thing that is true in technology, and I think that we're all experiencing that at the moment, is that technology never works the first time. Never. And the second thing that is true is that big magic doesn't exist. It just doesn't exist. If you want to build things, if we want to build things, we have to go step by step, right? But the first step is not, it's never really impressive. So it happens really often that the hippos look at the first step and are like, I'm not impressed, we're spending too much time and money on this very first step. I'm not convinced we'll stop the project. So to go back to the answer, I would say resilience. Even during tough times, when we're trying to do a complex project, keeping in mind, the big picture. When we hit a wall, if we know why we hit the wall and why we need to try again, it's easier than when we are just looking at the present and everything becomes super difficult. Yeah, resilience.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gary. Amazing.